All right, hello. It is On Parade, the Too Ugly for TV podcast. We mock the news so you don't have to. Hello, Jake.
How's it going?
All is well here. That is Jake Vevra, stand-up comedian in New York City. I am Nathan Timmel, stand-up comedian in Iowa City. Jake, what do you want to start with? You want to? Well, let's close with viewer comments. We got we got put on notice. Let's talk about that at the end.
Well, but we already started talking about it.
I suppose you're right.
You're
Well,
going to
it could
make
be
them listen to the
considered a
whole
teaser.
episode?
It
What's
could
up?
be considered a teaser if we
All
start.
right, yeah,
to
we're
talk
doing it
about
at the end. Fuck you guys. You got to wait.
Now you got to
listen
wait
the
to see who
whole
put us on notice.
episode.
Well, let's start with this. Jake, the world's coming to an end tomorrow. As this podcast drops, the world will be coming to an end because there's a solar eclipse. And I'm very stupid. I thought these things were scheduled, not common, but I've seen posts of newspapers from 1979 saying, "Oh, the next time this will happen is in 2024." Like they predict, they monitor these things are they flow, they come around, they're timed. Apparently I'm wrong. I'm stupid. This is who knows why this is happening. Satan has taken over. This is the rapture. There are all sorts of stories going on as to what will happen tomorrow. Who knew we were still in medieval times when people think that the earth and moon and sun all crossing paths is the end days?
Yeah, I mean, I've never gotten the big deal about eclipses. I saw one when I was a kid, and I know there's like partial ones, or it's only 18 19ths covered, and that I don't but I remember going outside in elementary school to see one of these things, and I thought it was a big to do about nothing, man. I felt the same way about them that I did about comic book movies. I was like, all these other little kids around me are excited. It's just a goofy fucking guy in a cape and masks that I wish was Bruce Willis or something. I wish he was taking down cartel members or bank robbers or some kind of thing. Not some guy named, I'm Mr. Goblin Man. Like, I just did. I feel the same way about it's like, oh, well, the moon is going to cover the sun. It's like, hey, man, if you want to see the sun be covered from the earth, there's about, I don't know, 8 to 12 hours a day, given the time of year where that happens for, hours, like literally long chunks of the day. You can look up in the sky and no sun. You'll go fucking nuts. There's a time, I don't know if you guys sleep heavily, starting mid-afternoon until dawn, but there's a time called nighttime that is going to really blow your fucking minds if you like that eclipse.
Jake, you're a Philistine. That's all there is to say. That is not the moon covering the sun. That is the earth turning away from the sun. It's completely different. This is an opportunity for people everywhere to look in the sky and see the moon and the sun in alignment. And I'm exactly like you. I couldn't give a fuck less. My mom and fake dad are going nuts. They tried to travel a few years ago to the last, and that's the thing. This was recent. There was a partial eclipse a couple of years ago, and they tried to get the hotel, and they've had plans to travel to see this one. And last night, my gig, on the way back from the gig, I stopped at a gas station, and the gas station had solar eclipse glasses for sale next to the candy and tchotchkes and keychains.
All right. Here, I'm taking on big solar eclipse glasses companies. That is medical fake news horse shit that you guys peddled to me since I was a child. You know what they did? They brought us out for the eclipse, and they paid some huckster, some snake oil salesman, for basically empty cereal boxes that they kind of curved the ends on. And they were like, listen, if you look at the eclipse, you'll go blind. You'll go fucking blind is what they said. Oh, cover it with this piece. I'll bet NASA designed these. I'll bet it's some kind of UV lenses. No, it's a weird little cereal box thing. I'm like, dude.
With a pinhole poked in it.
Yes. If what you're telling me is true, if I can go blind without looking at it, where was all the blind kids in that summer? You know what I mean? Of 1994, whenever this happened. Surely there was people that looked at the sun and got blind. No, none of them. They all had the cereal boxes, huh? Even homeless people.
I said this happened a couple of years ago, and I'm like, this happened recently. We just
Yeah.
had an eclipse. I forgot. You just reminded me. Trump was president because we had all those famous shots of everyone saying, "Don't look at the sun," and then there was a shot of him looking
No,
right at the
I stood
eclipse.
by my president that day. I stood behind my president that day. People who come at us in the comments going, "You only parrot left wing," blah blah blah. I said, "Fuck that. Fuck the left wingers and Fauci telling our president not to look directly into the eclipse." I called it bullshit when I was 8 years old. I yelled about it like a young what was her name? Kathy Bates, that character from Misery, yelling at that movie, going, "He didn't
Annie
make it
Wilkes.
out of the cock-a-doodie car." I was yelling about this is not going to make us go blind. If it was, they would keep us indoors. If this was going to make us go blind from looking at the sky, this would be called what? A global health emergency. But it's not. It's a hey, get your $7 cereal box that a fucking snake oil salesman poked this thing in and sold it to you to give your kids. They would just be keeping kids indoors. You mean you're gonna trust a first grader to, like, hopefully the kid keeps the cardboard there, or he's gonna be using a cane to get around the rest of his life. Hope he likes dogs, because that's the only way he's going to get one anywhere, is a dog dragging him around if he fucks up the kid that can't tie his shoe. Yeah, tell him not to look directly at the sun while he's outside unless he has this stupid little box. That's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. I'm telling you right now, that is the equivalent of people wearing masks in their own car driving around by themselves. I'm telling, this is crazy, this thing about don't look at the sun. They would have
Here's the
kept us
thing.
indoors.
You got taken by a snake oil salesman. If I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, when I was in grade school for an eclipse, we made our boxes. We you know, like our teacher, we all had to bring a box, and we were told where to cut a hole and where to put a
We might
thing.
have done that too.
And the sun, you know, would and so we could look at the shadow, because that
Right.
was the trick. The trick was you were supposed to see the shadow, like, and as the shadow disappears or something, like, oh, there's a bright spot. But when if the bright spot becomes a shadow, that's the moon in front. That was the trick. We made ours. So yeah, if you guys
Okay.
bought a pre-made cereal box, you got taken. We were
even better,
craftsmen.
even better. So hopefully the kid puts the hole in the right place in the cereal box. Otherwise, he's blind for life. I don't think you would send a child outside in that circumstance under those conditions.
Well, speaking of people that are dumber than a first grader, I mean, you gotta love the tweet by Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day. God is sending America strong signs to tell us to repent. Earthquakes and eclipses and many more things to come. I pray that our country listens. Holy shit. The eclipse is a sign from God that we need to repent. I mean,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is the way I thought she could not get dumber than Jewish space lasers, but holy shit, she proved me wrong. It's like she said, challenge accepted. Oh, you thought Jewish space lasers was the dumbest thing I was gonna say? Here we go. Eclipses are a sign from God that we need to repent. God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene. I, what do you think is worse, her for being stupid, or stupid people for voting for her and keeping her in government?
Oh, a little column A, little column B, but I was hoping she'd still stay anti-Semitic on this one and blame the Jews for turning off the sun. You know what I mean? With their space, something like that. You go on that same theme. They're up there in space, these lasers. You know, it's. I think she doesn't. She was gonna, but she's like, nah. I kind of like their work in Gaza right now, so I don't really want to go at them. I think that's the only reason she didn't try to blame him for
Yeah,
the eclipse, man.
she likes what they're doing over there.
Yeah, I just like the idea of some god. He made the earth. He even used to do things like he drowned the entire earth except for one guy and his family and some animals because he didn't like all the butt fucking that's going on. So he can definitely intervene, but he's sending us warning shots like, hey, you see how it's daytime right now? Now it's a little dark. Now it's day again. You better not put Trans Visibility Day on Easter again. Otherwise, I'll fucking smite you bitches. You know, that's his way of telling us that. He didn't give us a more direct warning. Wouldn't he have done this during Trans Visibility Day that fell on Easter? Wouldn't he have been like, it fell on what? Send an eclipse. This is a warning shot, you bastards.
You know what I remember? I don't.
You keep
This
your
is
pronouns
probably
off my Easter bunny. I'm God.
I got a couple of years on you. Um, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember being a kid? And when I was a kid, we only had three channels and then UHF and VHF. And the UHF VHF would show the old, I'm going to say Bing Crosby, but they'd show older movies. And in every single time travel movie, they were always going back to medieval times. And whenever they went back, one of the people would say, wait, wait, wait. They want to kill us because they know there's something wrong with us, but we can fool them. If I remember my dates correctly, there will be an eclipse on tomorrow at 1 p.m. If I tell them I will block out the sun, then they won't kill us. Do you remember seeing movies like that? Like there were a litany of movies where they would go back in time and for some reason they would have knowledge. Oh, I remember there's an eclipse. We can tell them we control the sun and the moon. And that then they would tell the king or whatever back in the day, like that was like this running, like quicksand and eclipses were big in time travel movies with the eclipse, and then quicksand were in
Yeah,
all the movies when I was a kid.
it's yeah, you used to see those, and it's kind of funny because like quicksand kills no one now, dude. Apparently, um, uh, Carhartt has really made better boots than back in the day because like no one's going in quicksand. Everybody used to die from that shit, but it's like hey, if we should change the treads a little. This is like a quicksand. I mean, this is like a medium slow jog sand at best. Not at all is it quick. Not
What's
taking us
funny
out.
is like it started quicksand was this thing, maybe Gilligan's Island, or it was always jungle movies, like, oh, it's this weird frightening. It was even they put it in Blazing Saddles in the beginning, as if in the old west when they're building the railway at the beginning of Blazing Saddles, there's quicksand in the middle of America for some
It
reason.
used to, yeah,
It was
before the year
pervasive back in the day.
1972. You would have thought that like everybody, you would have thought that quicksand deaths were right up there with malaria. I mean,
Yeah.
if you would have just watched our movies before 1972, it was
Hey,
wild, man.
speaking of you mentioned in passing, I put the article up. I wanted to talk about it. Hand to God. I would not lie about this. I had never heard of Trans Visibility Day until my Twitter blew up with right-wing assholes complaining about it. I'm like, I
Dude,
had
they're
no
morons.
clue it even existed. And so it took
They
me
couldn't have done
all of
more to
10
make trans
seconds.
visibility more visible. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
it's
brought it up.
it's it's
It took
ridiculous.
me 10 seconds of Googling to realize, oh, this has been a thing for 15 years. Easter moves every year because of whatever
Yeah.
fucked up reason. The it's got to be the first Sunday after the equinox. I don't remember. I don't keep track of that shit. The whole point is, I mean, what a it was so funny to me that I had never heard of Trans Visibility Day, and suddenly like they increased awareness 1,000,000% with their crybaby shit. And my favorite of all was that Caitlyn Jenner,
Fuck yeah, dude.
Caitlyn Jenner fucking tweeted, "How dare Joe Biden?" Like, it's like she is the Clayton Bigsby of trans people.
Oh, I love it. It's like, oh, they put it on Easter, these sons of bitches. Like Caitlyn, even if that was true, even if this was the first year that they did Trans Visibility Day, uh, uh, is Joe Biden being any more or less woke than Vanity Fair? But tell me how woke he's being by on a scale of 1 to what you did. How woke are we talking here?
Yeah, when you so bravely turned down that cover, Woman of the Year. Oh wait, you didn't turn it down. You championed yourself and said, "Yeah, I'll take a magazine cover because I deserve it because I've been a woman for all of 5 minutes. I should be on the cover of Vanity Fair."
Dude, it's like she came out as trans and was like, listen, now that I'm trans, no more. There's enough of like we're done. We got enough of those rainbow flags with like the tropical skiller colors on it. Like we're done. Quit printing those. All of that. It's just regular rainbow flags or nothing. It's no more. No more.
My favorite thing is the article I sent you, where both Fox News commentators and Caitlyn Jenner. It's not in the Caitlyn Jenner this article, but someone with time on their hands went back and found both Fox News and Caitlyn Jenner tweets from several years ago celebrating Trans Visibility Day. Fox News like, hey, shout out to, and they were both from when Trump was president. It's like, hey, we know Trump is coming down on trans people, or we're having these bathroom arguments, so we're gonna just show a little support, play it safe, and see where the green, the money flows. It's only when Biden's in office that it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I mean, the people who were reporting on, like Fox News or putting out in right wing news articles, Biden declares this Trans Visibility Day, or acting like it was the first. I mean, all you got to do is Google it to realize,
Yeah.
like, oh, this has been around since 2009. It's the same day every year. I mean, even if, like, hey man, it's my job to write right-wing stuff or whatever, wouldn't you just fucking Google it? Like, what is this thing? What is Trans Visibility Day? If for no other reason, like, I want a better definition of what I'm talking about so I can rail against. Even if if I was genuinely the most transphobic fucking guy on the planet, and that's why I got into media, and one of my transphobic bosses was like, Jake, I love Jace is my brother's name, but anyway, Jake, I love your transphobic work. You really, I mean, you're like the Harry Potter lady, but broke, and so you work for me. Print this thing about how Biden made this holiday up for Easter. I would turn to him and I'd be like, listen, I love the spirit of this article, but did you know it's been turned around? It's been a thing since 2009, and if I print this, we're gonna look silly. It's gonna hurt the whole transphobic movement. And next time I go to print something, about trans people, people are going to turn around and be like, remember, there's that same asshole who said that a 15-year-old holiday just started 20 minutes ago. We can't believe him. Let's all take hormone pills. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you be afraid that it would fuck with your credibility and therefore fuck with your cause just by printing this? What is a clear and easily verifiable lie? It's not one of those things to where it's like, well, printing, well, all trans people that transition end up being miserable, and so don't do it, and blah 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 blah. It's like, what now? You got to get like numbers involved, and you got to, well, who's happy, who's not. You can find people that detransition and stuff like that. When it's something verifiably false, like, when did this holiday start? I mean, how do you even print that? How do you even do that shit?
Well, because Jake, we've talked about this. In all honesty, first of all, just a quick aside, I love J.K. Rowling. She's been on fire this past week. Scotland passed a new anti-hate law, and so she just went straight at it on Twitter. Just so she's been great all week. I don't have anything in front of me, but I've been loving following her. She is just,
I see. I haven't read that much up about the Scotland
oh,
law. Like,
she's
I don't.
guns ablazing. But anyway, so let's not talk about it because we haven't read on it. They know that their followers don't care. Their followers are the stupidest of the stupid,
Yeah.
because as we can talk about at the end, they still think January 6th was peaceful protesters. Karl Rove, right wing, I hate Bill Clinton, I'm going to take Bill Clinton down. Karl Rove this week came out and gave an interview and said that January 6th is an abomination on our country. What those protesters did breaking into the Capitol and their bullshit.
Right.
Karl Rove, like, anybody with any common sense knows what happened on January 6th, but enough people say, "Oh, they were peaceful. They deserve to be pardoned." They don't care. They do not care about facts. We're dealing with the dumbest people on the planet. That's all there is to it.
Right. I mean, but this one's almost too. I mean, because anybody who's not just so dug in that they won't even. All you got to do is Google Trans Visibility Day, and it shows up. Starts in 2009. It's right there on the Wikipedia. I mean, you don't have to dig for this.
Wikipedia's liberal lies, Jake.
I mean, I guess, but it's like, what do it was covered by publications, I mean, not as heavily as it is now, because like we said, the right wing made Trans Visibility Day more visible than it's ever been, at a time when, if they truly wanted to hurt Trans Visibility Day, they would have said nothing and let it get overshadowed by Easter. That's what because it fell on the same day as a massively well-known holiday. Like we were saying at the beginning, we'd never heard of Trans Visibility Day before now. You know what we had heard of? Easter. We've heard the fuck out of Easter.
You know what I did? The week of Easter, I went shopping and bought Easter candy for my kids. I didn't buy a single goddamn trans visibility card. I had nothing. I wasn't even going to post about it. I had no. I was commercializing Easter. If they wanted
dude.
to complain, they could have complained about the commercialization. How dare you buy chocolate and Easter eggs on a day that is holy because Jesus woke up from his nap? I always forget whether Easter's his birthday or not. That's the day he
No,
took a dirt nap. But yeah, they
Good
not only did
Friday.
they could rail against something real, which is the commercialization of their religion, but they don't care about that. They don't care the fact that Easter is now a holiday about a bunny rabbit more than anything, and going out for brunch and eating a ham.
Right, your religious holiday has been so secularized that, like, even as an atheist, I'm giving my kid chocolate bunnies, man. Like, I don't give a
Exactly.
fuck.
Me too.
It's
I go.
not,
We do a
you know,
scavenger hunt.
if anything's making a mockery of your religion, it's that goddamn bunny, you know? And his eggs painted trans colors most of the time. I'm just saying it's painted the same colors as the, make it the
Rainbow
regular rainbow
flag.
colors, or make it, black and gray. Make it whatever the whatever. I don't know what Catholic colors are. If they got maybe the Notre Dame football team's colors, you know what I mean? You go with the green and white, or green and gold. I think it's green and gold.
I
Either
don't know. I
way,
don't pay attention to college ball.
Either way, I guarantee you the people who were initially the most pissed off about it falling on Easter this year were the people who run Trans Visibility Day, because they're like, oh, fuck, this is going to be the same thing as when, like, was it Farrah Fawcett that died on the same day as Michael Jackson? Who was it? There was some huge
Yeah,
celebrity who
I know
died, like,
Eric Carr died on the same day as Freddie Mercury. So like
right.
the
There's all
the
kinds of
second
stories
drummer
like
of
that.
Kiss got no love because he died on the same day as. But yeah, you're right. It
Right.
must have been Farrah Fawcett. That sounds about right. Yeah.
It would be like that same thing. They'd be like, we're Farrah Fawcett, and Michael Jackson just took a hot shot from that doctor, and now no one's gonna, even if a lot of people were gonna go to like a Trans Visibility Day parade. It might not be as many because they're home doing Easter stuff with their family. They meet their families that day of the year, and it's like a whole thing. And so there's many people that can do both, but there's many people that would just not do the Trans Visibility thing until it got overshadowed. Now they're like, great, Trans Visibility Day. We want to be visible. Look at us. And then Fox News is going, look at them. And they're going, yeah, look at us. Thank you. This was going to be the least visible Trans Visibility Day due to the giant bunny shadow that we're standing in. But now you've shined your own Fox News flash spotlight on us. And so we're visible again.
The last thing I'll say about it, because we got to move on, but honestly, the reason they were all pissed is they said, "How dare Biden declare it?" Because Biden sent out a tweet, or the White House or his handler. Um, in all honesty, how many people pay any fucking attention to Biden's Twitter account? I'm guessing not many at all. Like, it's white
Again,
noise. It's like because if people paid attention to Biden's Twitter, they would realize, oh shit, the country's doing great. The unemployment is fucking at record lows. I just watched a Daily Show take on how Fox tries to spin the job numbers every month because they're so good. The stock market keeps going higher. And so, if that word was getting
dude,
out somehow, people would know that. But everybody's like, I don't know, the economy. They're just pissed and worried about everything. So yeah,
Trump is running around
everybody's
right
ignoring
now.
Biden anyway.
Yeah, but Trump is running around right now at rallies saying that 3 years after he's out of office, he's the reason the economy is doing so good, because he did well in some polls. And now the market knows he might come back in January. Like, it's April the year before. Even if they thought that was true and were happy about it, that wouldn't be affecting the numbers now. He's trying to take credit for the jobs numbers and the stock market
Yeah.
3 years after he's out of office.
And he's also
It's
saying that
asinine.
violent crime is destroying us when every single metric shows that
It's
crime is
down.
down.
It's down. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's fucking nuts. And then he's yelling about the border while at the same time killing his own
His
party's border bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Oklahoma. All right, let's pick on Democrats. Let's pick on liberals because fuck them. Um, I actually heard a big. I don't know how much is in this article I sent you, but I listened to a big take on this. Oregon governor signs a bill recriminalizing drug possession into law several years ago in a 2020 voter approved measure that said instead of taking people that had drugs and putting them in jail, they'd get a misdemeanor charge. I think it was $100 fine, and told they should go to rehab. And they literally, voters said, we believe these people will pay the $100 fine and clean themselves up. Fuck to the no. Not only did they ignore the fines, but anytime people got caught with drugs, they got slapped on the wrist. And so it became like a magnet. People started going to Oregon so they could legally drew drugs. They had no incentive to clean up. It backfired so horribly. It turned into like downtown Portland turned into fucking Los Angeles. And so after only a couple years of no criminal drug laws, they went, all right, we fucked up. let's let's put these
Yep.
assholes back in jail. Let's arrest them. We can't. They turned it into a fucking free for all. Liberals, you gotta calm it down with this fucking kumbaya bullshit. The shoplifters leaving Walgreens with bags of shit. Oh, but if it's not $1,000, it's not a real charge. We gotta fucking start. They like you and I have talked about this. They took back California's 3 strikes and you're outlaw because I can't believe they put a man to jail because he stole a loaf of bread to feed his family. Yeah, that was the 3rd strike. What were the other 2? Gun possession and drug like
Well, but to be fair, with the 3 strikes thing, it can be 3 small things,
it
and
can be three
that's a little
small
fucked
things,
up. I
yes,
think
but the whole point is
I'm
like
not saying you shouldn't
liberals
have
just
escalating
love letting
charges.
crime run riot, and that's why they have such a. That's why all cops vote Republican because liberals just want to do these stupid. I'm gonna. They elect prosecutors who say I won't charge anybody for anything because the system is broken and racist. Okay, you got to charge people with shit. You got to fucking the laws. The laws that Democrats need to actually live up to what the NRA does not. When the NRA says we need to focus on the laws we already have, and then they spend all their money trying to fight gun laws, Democrats need to say, all right, let's just fucking enforce the laws we have. It's just so absurd. Oregon was a shit show, and it got
Yeah, I mean
handed to
that
them.
honestly is a little more rare in blue cities. We see that more out west.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't
yeah,
see
yeah,
as
yeah.
much of that in New York and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty wild. To me, it's not even the decriminalization thing of the drugs that seemed like it was causing the problems. It's the oh, you can just shoot it here on the sidewalk and set up a tent and just
Right.
like that's the part where it's like, well, I mean, alcohol's legal, but like if I just drink and piss myself on the sidewalk and just like live in a tent on this, I mean, like, well, that's still an issue, you know?
Well, my favorite thing with alcohol is I saw a comedian. I've seen several. It's actually a pretty popular premise. I've even seen a TikTok on it. The TikTok was great. It showed a guy with a can of beer and he's taking a sip, and a cop said, "Hey, you can't do that." And then they cut back to the guy, and yeah, he was holding a paper bag, and the cop went, Where'd the beer go? Where'd the beer go?" And he was just sipping out of a paper bag. The idea that people stand around drinking 40s out of paper bags, and it's suddenly like, oh, mysterious.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Okay, so basically, if COVID did one good thing for New York, it's that it kind of gave us New Orleans laws for drinking
They
outside.
did it in Iowa too. Now they've taken it
Yeah.
back because of insurance reasons. Insurance companies would not cover, but for a while it was like, yeah, they were letting liquor walk out the door at all restaurants.
Yeah, yeah. So even that's like if it's an insurance company thing, that's just restaurants doing it a little less on their own. That's like a
Yes, it is.
that's it, and I mean that's not really happening here so much because I think they realized during COVID when they were like, well, I guess we got to let people drink outside. They started to notice like, oh yeah, the guy with the to-go cup isn't normally the one causing problems on the train. It's normally the guy that has that little $5 homeless man bottle of gin. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna be the issue 99 out of 100 times. So your drinking laws never mattered to that fucking guy anyway. So I don't know, man. I think the definitely the paper bag thing is good. I think people should be able to drink outside, honestly, as long as they're not getting crazy, as long as they're not doing any other thing that's illegal because of the alcohol. But then if they are, you charge them with that thing.
All
So
right.
that's kind of my thing with the Portland drug thing is well, yeah, I don't know that it even needs to be criminalized. You just got to enforce the no loitering. You can't do it
The behavior.
outside,
Yeah.
in public. uh otherwise we're
If you're
actually going to
having a
enforce it.
drink in public, you're fine. But if you're stumbling drunk and pissing on the side of a business, you're getting arrested. Yeah. Same
Right.
thing. If you're smoking a joint, you're fine. But if you're smoking a joint and jerking off, or smoking a joint and harassing women, okay, let's arrest. There's got to be a line. And Portland. The funny thing is they seem to just there never seems to be a middle ground. It's always like everything's legal. Okay, everybody's a criminal. Everything's legal. You got to find.
Right.
Nobody likes wiggle room, and I don't understand it.
Like, I think it would be dumb if police put a lot of time and resources into finding criminals who stole less than $1,000. I don't know if you need to, get an FBI task force in for that guy.
Right.
I don't think we need a chopper to trail him. That said,
But
when
if
you
he's walking
publicly
out the door with
announce,
with a hefty bag full of shit, you can tackle him.
well, right, or charge him with a misdemeanor if you happen to catch him, But like if you publicly announce, hey, we're just not going to do anything to you for stealing less than $1,000. You just legalized crime, or theft of up to $999.99.
Here's the deal. I what I just said, I'm spitballing here, but middle ground. Trump said in one of his speeches that they should shoot shoplifters, and people said, "Oh my God, he's calling for him to shoot criminals." All right, fine. Let's find a middle ground. You can't let him walk out the door. You can't shoot him. Let's get a security guard with a crowbar and fucking Nancy Kerrigan as they're walking out
There
the
we
door.
go.
Boom, take him out the kneecap. You can't steal here.
There we go.
There's a middle
Or
ground.
Or what you do is you just entice them. You go, hey, you catch more heroin addicts with honey, as they say. You just have them hold up a little 50 bag. You know what I mean? A little half gram. You're like, hey, look what I got for you. Are you going through withdrawals right now? That's why you got all that shit. I'll bet it's going to take time to go flip that stuff, turn it into cash, and then go I got some heroin right here. And then boom, you get a net on them. You get that big Bugs Bunny net.
Oh yeah, or you got the box with the stick
Yep.
and a rope, and then boom, pull the stick. All right,
Yep.
we got to get to this story because this might be my favorite story of all time. I could not love this more. Amazon Fresh kills the quote just walk out shopping tech. It never really worked. So a few years ago, Amazon made a big deal about opening stores where you would just walk in and they had all the AI. So you would walk up to a shelf, you'd take an item off, put it in your cart or put it in your bag, and the store would know, like, oh, this person with their Amazon account, their phone is next to the Lucky Charms, and they took a bag, and you would just walk out the door, and as you walked out, your phone would know and ring everything up. Holy shit, it never worked. It was several thousand Indians watching like a call group. They literally had cameras in these Amazon stores and they sent camera footage to India, and you had these hunched over, just like a call center, watching the cameras to see who was shoplifting and trying to like, oh, okay, they took a bottle of Dawn liquid. Okay, charge them for that. How? That's the most fucked up thing I've ever read. That's the most fucked up thing that it was literally you had minimum wage worker. Why not just pay a cashier at that point instead of just like
Right.
having someone at the front that goes boop and rings it up? No, you farmed it out to another country and had them fucking stare at screens trying to see what people were plucking off the shelves. My God, that's beautiful. That's the most fucked up funniest. This is the grocery version of Elizabeth Holmes and her blood testing, where it was like, all right, we're going to take your blood and now we're going to send it to a real lab because ours doesn't work. I mean, fuck.
Yeah,
Why do they get so wrapped up in image when their shit fails?
I mean, they would almost have to. I assumed when they were talking about how it worked that there was like little tiny, like cheaply made, almost like not like
Micro
GPS,
sensors,
like, but yeah, some kind of
like in
micro
the
sensor thing.
sometimes they have mini bars that have
Yeah.
like pressures. Yeah, you take the bottle and you fill it with water. Like, oh, but that bottle moved. You're getting paid for it.
Yeah, or like you know how a lot of times like clothing stores and like CD stores when
Yeah, they
that
got
was
the
still a
little
thing.
nub on
Yeah,
it.
they got to take it off. I figured it was some tiny little almost like a disposable version of that, like just a little sticker you put on each one, and when it goes
Yeah,
out the
yeah.
door,
They do
it's
have stickers. Yeah, they do have
yeah.
little.
And so I assumed it worked like that, but either way, I love, people would find a way around that. All they got to do is cut that goddamn sticker off, and there's no security or
Yeah, the
like
store was
employees.
empty. There was no one in the
Yeah.
store.
And so I love the idea that they're sitting there going, the self-checkout thing that saved us. We didn't have to pay for as many cashiers. What if we have a store that is just self-checkout, and then the customers are their own cashier, and the customers are their own security, and their customers are their own general manager. It's like, yeah, they're just going to be taking shit and not paying for it at a certain point. Like, that's just going to, it's like, hey, man, I got to, all these bartenders, you see, I like running a bar, but I hate actually having to pay bartenders. What if people just came in and made their own drinks and got real drunk? Oh, hey, but guys, if you come in here and make your own drinks, try to use that little the little metal thing that measures out a shot for you. Yeah, because I can't have you just pouring straight. You're going to pour too much vodka in your drinks is what's going to happen. And it cuts into my province. Oh, none of you are using the thing, son of a bitch. Or I run one of those privatized jails down in the South where they let you do that. Tired of paying guards. What if the prisoners were their own guards? Yes, they're running themselves. They're running. Also, don't let yourselves leave. Otherwise, it's jailbreak. I get in trouble for that.
All right. We have less than a couple. We have a couple minutes. Jake, you got called out in the comments. We teased that we had comments that we got blasted. You got called out specifically. You got that comment in front of you?
Oh,
yeah, I got it. Jake, unlike creepy child sniffing Joe, who declared he was running for POTUS after the Ukraine quid pro quo hoax, except he was caught on, actual phone call asking for quid pro quo. Anyway, Trump declared before the persecution started. It's the opposite to your Morana comment. Nope, time is linear. It moves in one direction. Democrats started the multiple prosecutions to stop him. Actually, they started multiple prosecutions because he committed crimes. They see Trump as a here's my favorite. Epstein buddy Bill Clinton sucking up to the rich and famous. Plenty of pictures of Epstein with Trump. That gets ignored. And then, Trump also went to the wake for the fallen New York police officer, Jonathan Diller. Yeah. And how many police funerals did Trump go to when he wasn't campaigning?
Yeah, that's true. If we're gonna trash Joe Biden for not going to this cop's funeral, which, hey man, sad thing that happened, but
yeah, horrible fucking thing.
We now get to play the fun game of how many cops died while Trump was in office versus how many of the funerals did he go to. See, because you don't have a guy running this time who's like, I am an outsider who's going to make everything perfect. You have a guy running on a record, and it's not a very good one. So there's been many cops that died since Trump was in office, and so far he's gone to one funeral. So I don't know, unless you up your stats a little bit, it's hard to be he's the cop funeral guy and then demonize the other guy for not doing it.
All right, we are out of time. Jake is at Jake Vevra on all social media. Twisted Cupid is live on Instagram, on YouTube every Thursday. I can be found at nathantimmel.com, and you can go watch my 1 hour special, Unapologetic, on YouTube. Goodbye.
Legalize overdoses now.